Hello and welcome to my channel. I just thought I would do a quick unboxing. I've had a few Ryobi tools through because I'm going to be working with them on some sort of tool 101, how to use them, what they're used for kind of videos on each individual one, so keep an eye out for those. But before I get them out the box, I thought I'd just film me unboxing them, show you what's in the boxes, and give you a very brief overview of what each one is for and which one you need to buy. So this is the 18 gauge nailer. It's a brushless brad nailer. Obviously they're all part of the OnePlus series, so you can use the same battery for all the different OnePlus products. Let me just, I've opened it but I've not got anything out yet, so let's see what's inside. Okay, so we've got some nails, a belt clip, the instruction manuals, so this is the smallest of their nail guns and uses the smallest nails basically. The great thing about an 18 gauge is that the head of the pin nails, of the brad nails, is so small. So it's perfect for decorative trim. If you're making, doing paneling or constructing something really decorative that, you don't want a massive hole from the nail. So you've got different switches, I will show you. So behind the trigger here, you've got the continuous or the single shot switch. Obviously with nail guns, they are obviously dangerous, but they have a built-in safety feature where a nail will not fire unless this is pressed down. So you can do this as much as you want, gets into the wrong hands. It's safe because you need to be pressing this down. So you need to be against a surface for that to work. And obviously I've not got it plugged in, so it won't work anyway. If you're not using a tool, always take the battery out just as a safety precaution, just in case, and especially if you've got kids running around, always take the battery out, and there'll be no risk of them hurting themselves. And then to load, you've got a clip here. You undo and it slides out, and you load it from this side. So you pop the nails in here and just snap that closed. If you've got a jammed nail as well, you just undo this clip at the top and you can release it from the top. This is a feature I really like. On my existing nail gun, you have to unscrew it and it's very fiddly. So this, you literally just make sure it's hooked over, clip that down, clip this back into place, and you're ready to go. So the dial on the back here is how much pressure you want and how sort of, powerful you want it. You can increase and decrease. And then on the side here, you've got the depth gauge, so how far you want it going into the material, or whether you want it sitting flush or just above. You've also got a spare nose head here clipped on, so obviously when this is destroyed, you can just unclip it and replace it there, which I find is a really good feature. So if the light is flashing, that means you need to either change the battery or there's a troubleshooting issue. Also with the 18 gauge, you can shoot up to 60 nails a minute, so that's pretty fast. Also something to mention is the nails it can take are up to 1.2 millimeters, so they're really small, and it takes between 15 and 54 millimeters in length. And they give you some with the nailer too. So these look about 30 mil. So you can see the head is super small and they're just straight pin, and again all you do is unclip this bit, pop the nails in. I tend to do it when it's facing down to make sure that it gets into the right position, slide it along to the front and then clip it shut, and then that's your nails loaded, ready to go. And then let's move on to the 16 gauge. So this is a little bit bigger. As you can see, the box is much bigger in size. So all the nailers pretty much do the same thing. It's just depending on how big nails you need to use. So there are obviously things that the 18 gauge can't do because it's just their entry level, it's just their smallest one for delicate trims, whereas the 16 and the 15 can pretty much do exactly the same thing. Again, it just depends on the size of nail that you actually need. So here's what's in the box. You've got the manuals again, you've got another leaflet on all the different tools you can get within the OnePlus range, and then you've got the nailer and just seeing if there's any nails included. Yeah, so we've got 500 nails included. They look about 50 mil, 60 mil in length. Also got a belt clip as well. So the 16 gauge nailer, you can already see that it's much bigger than the 18 gauge. So it can, size wise, you know, it's quite a stark difference. It's actually, I find this 18 gauge much heavier, which is bizarre. Okay, so you've got similar settings on the 16 gauge. It's just the magazine, let's call it, is a little bit different. So on here, which I like, you've actually got a measurement guide in both centimeters and inches. So that can help you sort of measure the distance between, you know, when you fire one and then you line it up with the one you just fired, and you can evenly space them, which I really like. So loading, let me just get some of the nails out so you can see, and I will show you the comparison as well. So these ones are 1.6 millimeter wide. That's the maximum, and then you can go from a 19 mil to a 64 mil in length. So comparing to the 18 gauge, so here's them side by side. Obviously the length will differ anyway, but the head size is a lot different. So these are for more heavy duty jobs like building furniture. You can also do, you know, larger skirting boards and cabinetry and pretty much anything that involves gluing and nailing things together that doesn't need to be quite as delicate. So you want to pull this down to the bottom and then load, and it will kind of show you where the bigger end of the nails need to go. So you just slide that up there all the way to the top, and then there is a black button here which you press, and that will release this so that it keeps pressure on the nails so they come out. If you have a jam, it's the same concept. You undo the top, take the jam out the top, hook it back after. You've also got the same depth gauge here to make it go in deeper or more surface level. You've got the same strength gauge at the back, gauge dial. So what you don't have is the option to either do a single or multi shot trigger. Sorry, you do have a button here for an LED light, so the light shines on what you're doing. But other than that, it's pretty similar to the 18 gauge, just a lot more powerful. So this can shoot, again, up to 60 nails per minute. And it's a serious bit of kit. Again, remove the battery if you're not using it. And it same safety features, whereas it won't shoot anything until this is pushed in. And it does also have a spare down here. So that is the 16 gauge nailer. And next up we've got the 15 gauge, which is absolutely massive. So big old box. This is for heavy duty projects again, so the nails are much bigger. You can get into more sort of tight corners because the magazine is angled. Here you've got the same, you've got your instructions. Make sure you read the instructions, all the troubleshooting and safety features of any new tool you buy, because you don't want to start using it and actually have no idea about, you know, any potential things that you wouldn't have known about if you hadn't read the instructions. So this, just grab the nails. Okay, So this is the 15 gauge, and what a bad boy this is. Again, it's part of the OnePlus range, so you can use the same battery in all three. This one shoots, again, 60 nails a minute. You've got the LED light. As you can see, the magazine is slanted, so you do need a 34-degree nail for this. So they are like that, rather than straight like these. And you've got the exact same sort of functions. So let me just see where they are on this. They're on in different places. So you've got the depth gauge at the side here. You've got a larger nozzle nose point, which again, if you've got a jam, you just open it up like that. It's exactly the same on all three. I really, really like this feature. Again, you've got the power dial on the back. You've got the LED light button, so shine it, and the trigger, and everything else is pretty much the same. You've got your spare nozzle back here. I'm calling it a nozzle, I don't actually know what it's called. And loading is exactly the same. So let me just get these nails out. And you'll see again that these nails are almost for first fix, I'd say, when building. So, you know, you can put up quite heavy duty wood with this. Again, larger baseboard you can use. Oh, I do like these. So this you can use for sort of door molding, you know, if you're putting up architrave, if you're putting cabinets together. So again, loading the magazine, you pull this down to the bottom to load, and your nails, I've not shown you the nails yet, so the nails have a round head and are slanted at 35 degrees. And compared to, so you've got the small 18 gauge here with a really small pin head. You've got the 16 gauge with the slightly larger head, and then you've got the 15 gauge, which is a lot bigger. So you can see the sort of levels of size here. And with the 15, you can use between 25 and 64 mil in length. So you can use really big nails. And you've got a 1.8 in diameter, whereas the 16 gauge, you've got 1.6, and the 18 gauge is 1.2. So the size of nails there really matters. You can see which way round it goes because it looks like a nail. So you put the large head at the top and then just slide that in all the way up. And again, press that black button to release, and that puts the pressure on the nails to load at the top. And as you can see, they are now then parallel to the shooting head as well. And once again, other than that, to differentiate against the 18 gauge, you do not have that continuous shot, but it can still shoot up to 60 nails a minute, and it has to again be engaged for it to work as a safety feature. As you can tell, it's a lot heavier. So I'll just show you in size difference. So the 16 gauge, the 15 gauge, the 18 gauge, the 15 gauge. So it's a lot bigger. So that is the 15 gauge. And finally, we've got the stapler. So there's a 10mm stapler. You would use this primarily for upholstering things, stapling up chicken wire or things in the garden. Just, yeah, anything that requires staples, basically. Again, you've got your belt clip, and you've got some staples with it. You've got your manual, as usual. And then you've got your little stapler here. So the stapler takes up to 10mm in width. So the top of the staple, it needs to be 10mm. And you can use, in terms of size, so the length of the pins of the staple, you can use between 6.35 and 14.3. So quite long staples you can use. So yeah, obviously the 6mm you'd use for like upholstering things. 18mm you can use for underlayment. 10mm you can use for wire, like chicken wire. 12mm you'd use for roofing felt, for example. And 14mm you can use for carpet. This is it. It's really, really light. It only weighs 1.36 kilos. You've again got your strength gauge here. So here you've actually got a dial. I'll show you up close. When you twist the strength gauge, it shows you how far into the material it will go. I really like that feature. Again, it will not shoot unless you've got the pin at the front pressed in. And I don't see any other features really. That's it. So to load it, you take this out, pop your staples in like this, and then you want to close it shut like that. Do not put it on here. You put it, ouch. You put it in here and close, and it's ready. So again, 10mm wide up to 14.3mm in length, and you've just got the singular adjustable setting here. So that is all four. You've got the 18, the 16, the 15 and the stapler, and that is the difference between them. Unboxing. Stay tuned and subscribe to my channel to see each of them individually. So I'll do a video on each showing you how to use them, actually using them in action as well, to show you what nails you need, how to load them, all the safety features. I'll go over it in a bit more depth. Also head over to my Instagram where I have a lot more how-to videos, tutorials and projects for you to get stuck into. Everything is beginner friendly, so it's suitable for absolutely anyone. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe.